I am spending 4 days with the Ins and Out in downtown Pittsburgh. I am headed up there for the next couple days. If any of my tweets get a little weird, somebody probably poisoned my food. I don't know. I've never spent this much time there. But this guy is there. He hosts All Things Sports for ESPN Pittsburgh in the afternoons. He'll be doing his pregame thing from, I still call it the Igloo, David Todd. I know I'm not allowed to do that. Hockey for me was the Igloo there. I went to a lot of games, to Springsteen concerts. This is new for me, though. I usually sneak in and out of Pittsburgh. I get there, I'm out in 12 hours. A lot of times I don't even put a head on a pillow there. I did spend Christmas there with you and the Rooney family. This has been a depressing thing to watch for any Caps fan, dude. And I know you got yourself into it out on your Twitter at David M. Todd. But, there's some bad blood from the Pittsburgh locker room, right? I mean, even 2 games up, they did not like that Ovechkin shot high on Hainsey, huh?
Yeah, look, it was, Penguin fans are happy, and we'll see what happens with the guys who were, obviously the Penguins blocking a lot of shots, and Hornquist took one, Kuhnhackl, and Hainsey. And, I think a lot of people, my initial reaction was, wow, that caught Hainsey's stick on the way up and got him in the head. And, apparently some guys in the locker room just thought that, from 15 feet to catch a guy in the head, 40 feet away from the net. They just, I guess, apparently I was not in the locker room, but apparently that raised some eyebrows. Do I think Ovechkin did it on purpose? I do not. It was just an odd thing to happen toward the end of that game. But for the Penguins, they were great when they got their opportunities, counterattacking. You can see what some of those snipers, Kessel and Gensel, can do. Obviously not Holtby's best effort. And certainly, the game, felt like the game was still a game until the goal that was overturned was then overturned again and called a goal. And that was kind of a crucial moment for the Penguins. Marc-Andre Fleury has been bad on the road this year, and he was bad on the road against Columbus. He has been obviously very good, and that's obviously been the key for the Penguins.
For you with the Penguins, expectations of winning a cup this year? I mean, at any point. I mean, I know last year there really were none. I mean, firing coaches and all of that sort of. The momentum of this thing really starts to catch you, right? I mean, it felt like the Capitals were the better team. They certainly sort of bloodied the Penguins' nose a couple times during the course of the regular season as well. It hasn't been a mismatch through 2 games, but it certainly feels like Lady Luck's not on the Cap side when they're out shooting them 2-1 and can't get past Fleury. It's like Fleury's a different dude this time of year, right?
Yeah, look, if somebody wants to make the argument the Capitals are the better team and have been the better team in this series in terms of carrying the play, certainly the better team during the regular season, the record proves it. I mean, look, they had the most points in the NHL, so congrats to them. I debate all the time whether past history means anything. Generally, to me, it does not. So I don't think the Caps are suffering from playoff series past. But the thing that does, I think, impact things is when you get down 2-0 and you say, is it woe is me? I mean, here we go again, that type of stuff. The Caps have carried the play. As you say, they've outshot them. Now, they haven't had a lot of high danger area shots, and that's been, I think the key for the Penguins' success defensively has been, while the Caps are getting a ton of shots, the Penguins have blocked a lot of shot attempts, and they haven't come, from right in front of the crease, right in front of Fleury. Niskanen had a nice goal in that area last night, kind of completely unchecked. But that's been the key, and you're right. Going into the playoffs last year, I thought the Penguins would win the Cup. I said, this team, I think they will actually win the Cup. But this year, I didn't say it. I think they were a favorite or one of the favorites. But the goaltending situation, no Chris Letang, was enough to give me pause to be less confident. Obviously, whoever wins this series, in my mind, is the clear favorite to win the Cup going forward. And obviously, the Penguins are off to a good start.
Well, the Caps in a tough spot. I will be in Pittsburgh for the next 4 days. David M. Todd is the way to find him. He's at ESPN Pittsburgh doing the afternoons up there, and been a wild and woolly time too. Man, Pirates are playing, the Steelers are driving. We got all the same stuff going on around here, but front and center becomes Crosby and Ovechkin, right? I mean, they put them on the billboards, they put them on the commercials. It's not one-on-one, but certainly Crosby has shined at this time of the year historically more than Ovechkin has, and Crosby is still, for the last week, has been the best player on the ice, and I think that's been very, very clear. His vision, the line itself, the way he shoots the puck, the way you can't get him off the puck, you sort of forget that until you see him for a week, I think.
Yeah, we've been we get the opportunity to watch Sid play. He missed the first 6 or 7 games of the year, but played this season, and I think you can make a good argument that he's playing the best hockey of his career. And you saw kind of the two-way stuff last night, blocking a shot and then getting the Penguins sprung for that odd man rush, and then taking the pass between his skates and kicking it up to himself, and then getting it across for one of the other goals. He's a fabulous player, and this series last year, I think the shocking thing to remember is, the Penguins win the series in 6 games, and Malkin and Crosby each had 2 points apiece. That was it. I think Sid had, 2 assists, and Gino a goal and an assist. But the Penguins were still able to win the series. But against Columbus, we saw Crosby, Malkin, Kessel, and Gensel were on fire. And that's carried over to this series, and they've been the best players in the series, and that's been the difference.
For the shot blocking, that takes a toll, right? I mean, whether it's like what Hainsey did, putting his face in front of an Ovechkin slapper, and I will say this: the ice is really chippy in DC. The thing's built on top of the subway. And for all the skill that the Capitals had, and I saw this, I was up in Toronto 2 weeks ago, the ice is just better and it's a faster game in other places. It's always a mess in D.C. because the building, and it was 90 degrees in D.C. on Saturday. I was sweating my nuts off walking up 6th Street with a backpack on my back. I was soaking wet by the time I got in the building. There was a lot of that going on too, but the amount of courage that it takes to put your body in front of everything the way the Penguins have now for 120-plus minutes through the first couple of games. You mentioned all of the guys. That takes its toll, and I think if there's anything that moves this series in Pittsburgh over the next couple of days, David, it's going to be the fact that the Penguins are a little down right now and a little banged up, and I admire the courage, but I think there does come a point where, Hornqvist isn't going to play, right? I mean, and that does take its toll through the long series. He's not going to play for a couple of weeks probably based on what we saw. Might even be gone the rest of the way. It's courageous, but it also cost you.
It is, and that's, a concern. We saw it happen with Malkin with a game up in Winnipeg. He dove in front of a shot, got something in the shoulder, and missed, I think 14 of the last 15 games of the regular season or whatever it was. These guys are willing to do it, Kuhnhackl and Hornqvist, as much as anybody. We saw 3 guys kind of, leave the game yesterday, and you're right, the shot that Hornqvist took into the foot or the ankle, exactly what it was, we don't know. Mike Sullivan didn't give us an update yet. We should have one, sometime today in Game 3. But it's tough. I mean, you do that, and at the same time, you realize you are putting yourself at injury risk, and the Penguins have some depth. But, yeah, that's going to be challenged now.
All right, we all know the football's the only thing that matters there, not these Stanley Cups. There's only the Lombardi Trophy there. Some thoughts about the weekend with the Steelers and the draft, and I know it'll be buzzing up there all week long on the back end of bringing in some new football players. Certainly a little bit of celebrity from the Watt family up there in Wisconsin. But Steelers draft, you give it a thumbs up?
I would say, I'd give it a kind of a B, a little bit. I like the top 2 picks a lot, and this draft I think will be driven on their 2nd and 3rd round picks. They took T.J. Watt, and the pedigree's there, and maybe he has room to develop. He's only played on the defensive side of the ball, started for a year at Wisconsin. That seemed like an obvious pick, and it was an obvious need. They took J.J. Smith-Schuster, the receiver from USC, and then they took a corner from Tennessee with their 2nd and 3rd round picks. And those guys, if they can come in and contribute like the Steelers' 2nd and 3rd rounders did last year, that is going to be a massive boost to this Steelers team. After that, they took James Conner. I think some people might look at that as a sentimental pick. James Conner's a hell of a football player, and he went maybe a little bit higher than some people anticipated, but people here are thrilled for him, what he brings. Obviously, with Le'Veon Bell, he's not going to see the field not expected to see the field all that much, but he will be a special teams contributor. He was he rushed the passer occasionally while he was playing for Pitt. And then after that, you're kind of rolling the dice a little bit. They took a quarterback in Josh Dobbs, also from Tennessee, and a few other guys. But as always, as you guys know, with those top 4 defensive picks that you took, if those guys can come in and contribute right away, then the draft's a big hit.
People don't even realize, the Pitt Panther Steeler thing. I did not realize it until Tomlin literally walked me through the building 2 years ago when I was up there on the baseball tour. For James Conner, he literally will just move his stuff next door, literally, right? I mean, it's not across town. They play at the same field, but it's the same complex there. I don't think everybody realizes that thing's built there. I'm actually staying in that part of town there the next couple of days. That's more than a feel-good story. That is a local legend waiting to be born there. You said sentimental favorite, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, he battled back from a torn-up knee and then finds out he has cancer, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. And SportsCenter did a feature on that over the weekend, and it's on their website at ESPN.com, kind of 10 minutes about how he's, giving so much to the community, and he's inspiring some other people, and take us through the journey that he's gone through, and then to see his name called on draft night. Yeah, pretty special stuff. He is a he's a much better person than I am, Nestor. He is a special individual and a good football player that they think will contribute. Yeah, and so the facility, literally, the facility is divided in half. Pitt's on one side, the Steelers on the other side. So he'll know his way around.
Do you have any feeling in 2019 or 20 or 21, Josh Dobbs will be the one coming down here looking to kick our ass, and we'll be coming back up there? I mean, dude's a rocket scientist, right? I mean, he's a different kind of cat, right?
He is a very smart guy. Obviously, that'll help him in learning the playbook and getting involved. The Steeler coaches, I think, rightly tried to deflect away from that conversation and talk about him as a football player, a guy who, started at Tennessee for a couple of years. And he was not drafted as Ben's replacement. Now, could he end up being Ben's replacement? Yes. But I think most people, Kevin Colbert, Mike Tomlin, obviously the ones that matter, I'm in this camp as well, think that Ben's going to be the quarterback through, 2020. And that's 4 seasons down the road. So Josh Dobbs, no matter how he develops at that point, could be a free agent. So I don't think this was with that pick, but this is, only the second quarterback they've drafted, 4th round or higher since, I think it's been 10 years. Randy Fittner, the quarterback coach, said it's the second one in his 11 years with the team. So it's something they haven't done. They feel like maybe they want to get younger at the position and they haven't addressed it enough. So, and then that's the concern from this fan base. If there's no immediate payoff for this draft pick, and you've got a team that's trying to catch the Patriots, that's what everybody looks at right now, how did you help your team? So I think the fan base is split on whether that was a good pick or not.
David M. Todd is the way to follow his journey out on Twitter. He's at ESPN Pittsburgh every afternoon from 4 until 7. Also, the co-host of the Terrible Podcast. That's still my favorite podcast on the internet. That's a great name. Hey, who wouldn't listen to the Terrible Podcast? And last but not least, bro, I'm doing 4 days in Pittsburgh. So, I've come in for a Pirates game here and again. I've come up for a Springsteen concert. I was there for a regatta for a day or two, like 15, 20 years ago, down at Point State Park. I've seen some lovely weather there. I've had the sandwiches with the French fries and all that. But 4 days in Pittsburgh, I'm at the South Side Flats. Dude, give me something. Give me something that is going to make me like Pittsburgh more when I leave.
Well, you got over on the South Side, you got a place called Fatheads to get a burrito and a beer. They brew their own beer, so that's a good spot to start. Walking up and down Carson Street on the South Side will be good fun. You're a big sports fan. If you have a chance, I would really encourage you to go to the Clemente Museum. Now, that may be by appointment. You might have to just call and say, "Look, I've got some time Tuesday. When can I come over?" But that's in the Strip District, just off downtown. I should go with you because I have yet to go to this museum.
What?
But everybody who's been there says it is extraordinary.
So Dwayne Reeder, who is the curator, he went to the baseball game with Tomlin and I 2 years ago when I came in on the second day of my 30-30 tour. So, I have a Clemente shirt and a hat and, all that stuff. And he is, that is the one thing that I was going to do. Like, I was going to try to figure out Tuesday or Wednesday. Like, I got to get there because I'm never going to get there. Well, we play Sunday. We play a Sunday night game again this year, That's a noon bus. We're up. We're out of there at midnight. I don't even spend the night in Pittsburgh when I come in. So that was literally number one on my list was to go to the Clemente Museum. You should come over with me Tuesday or Wednesday. We'll do that.
Yeah, let me know the plan.
He's the one Pirate I can't hate, even on my dad's behalf. You know what I mean? Stargell, right. Still don't like him. When I see Blyleven, I tell him. Tekulve makes me sick. Moreno, all those guys. I was tortured by all that. But Clemente, it's one of my people. And he was a good man as well. So, what else? Any other, things? Tomlin took us up and down in the inclinator on the hill, the Duquesne incline, right? So I've done that thing.
Sure.
I've done that one. Is there anything else?
Well, I'll make you a list. I mean, there are plenty of good restaurants. Walk through Market Square downtown. That's a lot of fun. The sights and sounds. Unfortunately, the Pirates will be out of town, so you can't really double dip on that. But town's got plenty of good activities for you to keep you busy for 3 or 4 days.
No Baltimorean wants to hear that there are plenty of good activities in Pittsburgh, besides losing at this point. Hey, man, it's going to be a wild week. I thought the Caps would at least be 1-1 or maybe up 2-0. I did not envision a scenario being down 0-2. I don't think Barry Trotz did either. It's going to be interesting to see how this thing holds up this week. Hey, man, thanks for coming on. Always a pleasure to chat with you. We'll grab you again in football season. I appreciate the time, and hopefully I'll see you over a Fathead beer and a Clemente picture or something, you know?
Good stuff, Nestor. Always a pleasure to talk to you.
David M. Todd, the way to find him out on Twitter as well as at ESPN Pittsburgh from 4 till 7 every afternoon. Also at Terrible Podcast on Twitter. Be hard to forget that as well. I meant to talk to him about Mr. Rooney and the Rooney family, but I think anybody that has listened to this program for a period of time knows how I feel about Mr. Rooney and the delicious cookies that he serves me in the press box at Heinz Field every year. Obviously, tremendous loss and no more revered guy. And I know Roger Goodell began the NFL draft over the weekend with some thoughts about Mr. Rooney, which I thought was appropriate and awesome as well. David M. Todd's the way to find him out on Twitter. You can find me in the Buy a Toyota Audio Vault 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world. On your mobile device, just download the TuneIn Radio app. We do come in crystal clear. Anything we do this week from Pittsburgh, you will hear there. You can always find me nasty at WNST.net as well. Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, streaming live on our Facebook as well as our YouTube WNSTV channel. And if you're looking for Ravens road trips, London, Minnesota, Green Bay, Nashville, all available for you. $100 off this week only. I've got to cut the spigot off on that beginning on Friday as we have to pay down the airlines to get things organized, but we are offering the discount for those early birders. This is the week to do that. You can also toss me an email. It's under the Road Trips tab at WNST.net. I am Nestor. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST Towson, Baltimore, and we never stop talking Baltimore sports.